The ongoing 6-week Israel-Hamas conflict has the world in suspense, pondering its impact on global geopolitics and the economy. With a history of previous conflicts in the region, this current clash stands out for its unprecedented duration and destructiveness. Israel's intelligence failure, increased casualties, and hostage situations mark significant deviations from past engagements with non-state actors like Hamas. The conflict's gravity extends beyond the Israel-Hamas dynamic, potentially involving Hezbollah, Iran, and other groups, risking diplomatic setbacks in the region, particularly after recent strides in Arab-Israeli normalization. Despite new complexities, the conflict reaffirms the enduring importance of the Palestine cause, highlights the US's pivotal role, and emphasizes the region's economic significance. Israel faces high stakes, with potential financial ruin and diplomatic fallout as global sympathy shifts towards Gazan civilians. For India, the conflict poses economic risks due to West Asia's influence on oil prices, export, and investment, while raising concerns for its diaspora and diplomatic strategies. The evolving situation necessitates India's vigilance, balancing economic opportunities with potential threats.
The article reflects on Claudia Goldin's recent Nobel Prize win in economic sciences for her groundbreaking research on gender dynamics in labor markets, questioning why it took over half a century for the Nobel Committee to recognize research addressing gender inequalities. It suggests that economics, as a male-dominated discipline, tends to sideline gender issues. Feminist economists argue for a reevaluation of economic theory to eliminate androcentric biases, emphasizing the need to consider gendered experiences in economic models. The article highlights how biases in economic theory can impact empirical analysis, using examples like women's employment and spousal violence, and advocates for a more inclusive and reflective economic discipline.
In October, India experienced a 4-month low in consumer price inflation at 4.87%, and wholesale prices declined for the 7th consecutive month by 0.5%. While this is only marginally lower than September's 5%, it offers relief from Julai's 15-month high of over 7.4%. Rural consumers face a higher inflation of 5.1%. Core inflation, excluding energy and food costs, decreased further, and household services inflation dropped below 4%. Vegetable prices eased to 2.7%, but overall food costs for households remained firm at 6.6%, with concerns about crop output and minimum support price hikes. The Reserve Bank of India's Monetary Policy Committee is unlikely to be swayed by these figures, aiming for an average inflation of 5.95% in November and December, just below the upper tolerance threshold. The base effects from last year and cautious consumer spending patterns are potential headwinds for policymakers.
The Parliamentary Committee examining Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, BNS, a proposed criminal statute to replace the IPC, disappointingly did not recommend abolishing the death penalty. Despite expert submissions on abolition, the committee suggested leaving the matter for the government to consider. Experts argued that death sentences were increasing at trial courts, while the Supreme Court leaned away from capital punishment. Members dissenting from the report emphasized that capital punishment lacks deterrence, life imprisonment is a rigorous alternative, and most on death row come from underprivileged backgrounds. The BNS defines life imprisonment as the remainder of one's natural life, supporting the case for abolition and a rational remission policy.
In a disappointing judgment, the Supreme Court of India ruled on 17 October that same-sex couples do not have the right to marry under the Special Marriage Act. The court's majority justified the exclusion by stating that the statute's object was not to discriminate, and the absence of a law to regulate same-sex marriages does not constitute discrimination. However, experts argue that these arguments are misplaced, and the court overlooked the impact of the law on a particular group. The minority judgment failed to address the issue, claiming institutional limitations. Critics argue that the court should have creatively interpreted the law to recognize the right to marriage for same-sex couples.
Rajasthan's forthcoming assembly elections highlight the state's varying progress across social, economic, and environmental indicators. Between 2015 to 16 and 2019 to 21, it notably improved in certain social aspects, such as reduced child wasting and enhanced health insurance coverage. However, challenges persist, including female education, ranked 28th, and child marriage, ranked 24th. While some indicators saw improvement, Rajasthan's standings in women's empowerment and educational sectors remain largely unchanged since 2005 to 6. Economically middling, its manufacturing sector employs only 10% of the workforce, ranking low in gross value added. Educational progress shows mixed results, with both positive and negative trends in various measures. Environmental indicators exhibit a similar mix of progress and challenges, emphasizing Rajasthan's diverse developmental landscape.
The evolving center-state disputes in India's economic policies reflect increased friction in the federal system. Economic reforms post-1991 granted some freedom to states, yet their autonomy in public expenditure relies on the center for revenue. Conflicts extend beyond resource sharing to homogenizing social sector policies and central agency powers, undermining cooperative federalism. Such incursions result in fiscal competition between states and the center, inefficiencies from parallel policies, and the center crowding out state investments. Infrastructure development is affected, revealing a need for balanced interdependence to preserve India's diverse, developing society.
The Central Consumer Protection Authority, CCPA, is investigating 20 IS coaching institutes for deceptive advertising practices, penalizing 4 with a 1 lakh rupees fine. Misleading ads feature top rankers' names and pictures without disclosing their enrollment nature, often limited to mock interviews, concealed in ads. While UPSC recommended 933 candidates in 2022, these institutes claim a cumulative selection of over 3,500, potentially due to multiple enrollments. Chahal Academy, ICRA IS, Roz IS Studies Circle, and IS Baba face fines, while others like KSG, Bijus, and Unacademy are among those under scrutiny. Some institutes are contesting or appealing CCPA's actions. The probes reveal similar concerns raised by the CCPA, highlighting misleading claims of selections.
The Kerala Literature Festival, KLF, held annually at Kozhikode beach, anticipates a massive turnout in January. This event, following UNESCO's declaration of Kozhikode as a city of literature, is a testament to the city's love for literature. UNESCO's Creative Cities Network acknowledges cities for creativity in diverse fields. Kozhikode, India's first city of literature since 2004, hosts numerous libraries, publishing houses, and events like KLF. The festival highlights authors, drawing attention to the city's literary legacy, housing stalwarts like M.T. Vasudevan Nair and Vaikam Muhammad Bashir. Beyond literature, Kozhikode is renowned for music, food, and football. UNESCO's recognition amplifies Kerala's broader literary enthusiasm and thriving publishing culture.
Amal Kumar Raychaudhuri, an Indian physicist, defied pressure to work on general relativity and authored a groundbreaking 1955 paper introducing the Raychaudhuri equation. Despite resistance from the director of his institute, Meghnad Saha, Raychaudhuri pursued his passion in spare time, revolutionizing the field of relativity. His equation, exploring the motion of matter in curved spacetime, influenced the work of Stephen Hawking and Roger Penrose. Celebrating Raychaudhuri's birth centenary, this narrative emphasizes his perseverance and the importance of following one's scientific path despite challenges.